Hey everybody, Rylan here again from Land Insights, and today we're going over the upgrades that we just recently made to the Land Insights comping tool. These are some upgrades I've been wanting to happen for a while, so I'm super excited to roll these out to you guys. We're already helping out my business, so I'm sure it's going to help you guys out. So before we start, Land Insights comping tool, this is available to our pro users as well as our starter users. Starter, limited access, pro, unlimited full access to the comping tool. So you're quickly going to see some changes in the comping tool here, but before we start, you don't just arrive at the comping tool, you got to be in the data tool to get there first. So let's just say maybe you plugged in a parcel number and a county and a parcel number or owner name, or maybe you had the link saved from when you exported data with us. You just open up that link, you can go to a property. But let's just say this person wanted to sell to us. So we've got this person's information. We can also see their portfolio. So we can see, okay, this person owns another property in Lunenburg County. They also own a property in Mecklenburg. So we can see, oh, this person owns a house that connects to this property. You can see that because owner mailing address matches property address. So usually when that happens, that means they actually live at this property. So yeah, they want to sell this property that sits right next to it. So in order to go analyze this deal, we're going to want to click on it, and then we're going to open up our comp report. Okay, so now we're sitting in here. We can always go back to data platform if we want, and it takes us back to that property. So you're quickly going to see we changed up our dashboard up here, and we have just the important information that we want to give you right away. So we can see the name, we can see how long they've owned the property. So they purchased it back in 2022, and they purchased it for $91,000, which is very, very relevant. We want to know that information so that we don't make a stupid lowball offer and they just ghost us. And then we can also see where they live. So we can say, hey, this person lives in the same zip code as the property. That usually means to me like they're less likely to sell it, but they definitely are open to selling it. It just might be at a higher price than what you're used to. And then we can see market insights. We can see, okay, 32 active that are 5 acres and above in this county. Like that's basically the rural market. We can see the info market. We can see market analysis, basically telling us how much demand the land is out here. So we have 125% sell-through rate for rural land out here, which is really good. It's also going to tell you that as well. We can see slope insights, so it's telling us what the slope looks like on the property. Nothing crazy. It's saying moderate. 50% of it is a moderate slope, so nothing crazy. You can also go in, hold control on your keyboard, drag your mouse, and you can see a 3D view. You can also put contour lines in here as well and see that slope. But yeah, this is nothing crazy, but it would tell us if there is something crazy. And then deep AI analysis, you guys know what that is. You click on it, it gives you a deep AI analysis of the property and everything around it, if you want to research it even more. And then you're also going to see a different user interface on here. So we changed up all of the organization of our overlays over here. I generally just stick to all hazards and standard due diligence. It's usually how I operate. It's going to put all the overlays that are basically important here. So we can see there's no wetlands, no flood zones on the property. And then we have our little comp dashboard right here. So the comping tool only used to have 1 year of comps on here. Now we can go back 3 years if we want. So I always keep it on 1, and then I'll feather it out if I need to see more listings, because I want to see the most recent sales. But if there's not enough in that acreage band, I'll go back and find more information. So this property is 52.33 acres. Land Insights automatically feathered it out 40 to 60 acres. You can always adjust this if you want, but this is a pretty good feathering for me. And then we're showing on the map all comps. Okay. So blue is what's for sale, pink is under contract, green is what actually sold. And in addition to this, you can go down to our tables, and you can adjust from here. So what's a really cool thing we just added is the thumbnail of that listing. So this one, I'm probably not going to look at this one because it's probably a terrible listing. It wasn't marketed correctly, or maybe it was a flaw in the MLS. I would rather look at this one or this one or this one because these look like they were actually listed on the market. So I just would probably remove this and not even analyze it. You can also adjust the acreage from here. You can adjust how far back you go as well. And then you can go comp radius, how far you want. It's stuck on only county, but you can go back 40 miles or 100 miles if maybe you're on the county line and you want to look at comps in a different county. So notes, that stayed the same. So let's go comp this deal. Okay, so this is up here, you can see 52.33 acres. And we're gonna start looking around. I'm a very conservative comper, so I always choose stuff. If comps, this is high, this is low, I'm always like kind of here and where I comp the value. Okay, so we can see this is listed at 2,000 an acre. Let's go view it. Okay. That's listed at 5. And then we're seeing a lot of sales at 2,800, 2,800. I think that's the same listing, yeah. This sold for 1,000 acre. Looks like it might be landlocked area. Yeah, it's just timbered. That's why it's so low. So there's not a ton of comps here. So I'm gonna go back another year. And now it's going to populate even more for us. So we can see this one sold at 2,700 an acre. Just a trailer on it, a little pond. Look at this one. Okay. So I'm kind of leaning towards this like 2,800 an acre mark right here. Yeah, so the only red flag is this listing. Let's see if there's anything wrong with it. It's listed really low relative to what everything's selling at. Yeah, it keeps talking about hunting. It doesn't talk about building. Maybe it's just not buildable, is my guess. So that being said, I'm just gonna lean towards this like 2,700 an acre mark. So we can see here, I haven't selected anything yet, but if I select this, it's automatically gonna calculate how much it's worth based on that 2,700 an acre PPA mark. So now it says, oh, it's worth this. But maybe you wanted to take the average of a few. It's like, oh, I'm kind of leaning more in between these two. You can select this one and it'll take the average. So now it's taking the average of that. But this one, I'm pretty confident in this. So I'm gonna unselect this and only select 2,700 an acre. I'm pretty confident it's gonna sell at that. And then we can always add adjustments. Maybe it's like, okay, that's market value, but there's something wrong with our property. Maybe there's a wetland. Maybe there's a wetland on half the property. We can decrease the price by 30%. And then it automatically adjusts that value. So you can add adjustments if you want. But in this case, this is a pretty good piece of land. I'm not going to decrease the value at all. And then we can go make offers from this. Like we can go calculate how much we're going to make. So let's say you wanted to offer 50% of that. That would be 71,000. Or maybe you wanted to do a range offer 40 to 60%, it would be that. And then if you want to analyze what your profit would be, if you offered 71,000, it would be this based on a 6% realtor commission and closing costs of $3,000. And of course you can adjust these, but really cool tool to make profitable offers. See how low or how high of an offer you can go or how low of an offer you can go. And yeah, a lot of people love this table feature. I don't use it as much, but these images are really valuable to look at. And yep. Also, if you go back to Oh, you can always change this too. A lot of people ask me this question. Let's say you wanted to make an offer on 2 pieces of land. Let's say they own one here and there's an adjacent piece. You can click on one of those and then just add the extra acreage in here. So let's say it was an extra 20 acres. You would just do 72.33 and then you would adjust it. And now you can see our value changed based on that. It changed based on the acreage. So if you needed to do an offer on 2 pieces, you can do that if you want. Another thing we changed, if you go to data layers, MLS data, in here, if you want to look at MLS comps just on the data platform, you can adjust how much it feathers by, like the acreage it feathers by. So if this was 50 acres, for example, and we put 25% below, 25% above, it would show acreage 25% below 50 and 25% above 50. I'm not going to do mental math right now because I know I'm going to mess up. But yeah, we can automatically feather, or we can just do manual, and we can do the acreage we want there. And then again, we have 3 years back here. You can adjust the comps you're looking at, but I always keep it on all comps. And then another thing, if you ever get lost, you can always go jump to parcel and it's going to take you back there. Or maybe you get all out of whack and it's not vertical and 2D anymore. You can just do rotate to north and then just adjust back. All right, that's it.